Take 5 million or so. Okay, welcome guys. I'll be doing a tutorial on juggling technique today. So mainly, so the next time somebody asks me, what is juggling technique? What is good technique? Do I need that? I can just post a link to this video and tell them there it is. So what is technique? Technique is the way we use our body to do what we want to do. In juggling, or in toss juggling, that mainly means throwing and catching things. Yeah. I'll be just covering balls today, and also just normal cascade style throws. I know that sounds like a small topic, but you'll be seeing how long this video goes. So, first up, what's good technique? Good technique is technique that is as energy efficient as we want it, or as energy efficient as possible, meaning you want to put as little energy into the juggling while getting the best results. You want it to be as fast as possible, and you want to have the most precision as possible. No, the most control as the most possible control. English, yeah. So how do we achieve that? And today I'll just be explaining the theory behind it all, and tomorrow or whenever it's not snowing every 5 minutes, it's crazy out here, I'll be explaining some exercises how to get there. First things first, posture. Posture isn't the most important thing in the world, but it is quite important. We try to keep our feet, I know you can't see them, shoulder width apart, toes pointed out slightly, like outwards to the side, just slightly. This is the natural stance of most humans. And we try to keep our upper body straight, straight, not like this, but straight, and our shoulders in a neutral position. So not like this, not like this, not like this, this, neutral position. They are relaxed and they're in the middle. We're not leaning forward or backward. Why that is? It's pretty simple. When we have a ball in our hand, the ball is on the palm of my hand. My palm is attached to my underarm is attached to my upper arm, this one's attached to my shoulder, and that's attached to my torso. Now, if I stand like this, the strength to hold the ball comes from my back. And my back will start to hurt. If I stand like this with a tense shoulder, it will come from my shoulder mainly, and I'll be getting cramps right there. If I stand like this, the strength also comes from my lower back, like with this here, with this here. Where we want the strength to hold up the ball come from is from our stomach, because there are no bones that can be hurting. It's very hard to get cramps in your abdominal muscles, and also it's a core muscle, so it's in the middle. There are muscles pretty much in the middle of our body, so we can have the best integral strength. Everybody who studies physics, don't need to explain that, or anatomy, or anything. Everybody who doesn't, just stand straight. Simple as that. Our arms want to form an L from the side for most techniques. I'll be getting into that later. Now, the four things we want from our technique are energy efficiency, as I said, speed, as I said, control, as I said, and we want them patterns to look the way we want them to look. This is individual for everybody, but I think most of us can agree that, for example, there isn't much difference between a 3-ball cascade like this and a 3-ball cascade like this in the terms of beauty. Now, while it's not impossible to juggle 7 balls, for example, like this, it is way harder than juggling it with good technique. And that's the whole point about good technique. It doesn't make you a better juggler. It doesn't enhance your physical capabilities of your body. it just puts them to better use. So you won't be getting stronger by having a good technique, you won't be getting faster necessarily, and you won't be getting preciser, but you will use the amount of strength, endurance, precision, and speed your body possesses more efficiently, thus making you the best juggler you can be. So there are awesome jugglers out there, way better than me, who have shit form and technique, who'll be standing like this, who'll be throwing balls like this, and they're so good, but they could be so much better if they would just use proper technique. So now I'm gonna explain to you something all good techniques have in common. Energy efficiency would be the first. How do I get something to be energy efficient? A throw, in this case. Well, before the throw, there's the catch. It comes into my hand, and the worst thing I could do right now is to just stop it dead in its tracks, which uses a lot of force on my part, so I use up a lot of energy to stop it, and then I use a lot of energy to propel it upwards again. And, well, why put in twice the energy twice, once to stop it and once to accelerate it, when you can just keep the momentum, redirect it, so we go downward, slide in, more in, more in, more in, more up, and there. So we don't stop the ball and accelerate it, we just redirect the momentum it already has. People who study physics, vectors, centripetal force, it's very hard for me in English. The centripetal force is smaller, you need to put in there, is smaller than the force you need to stop it, and then who cares about this? It's just that. So you want to keep the movement of your hand as close to a circular motion as possible. Second thing, speed. The smaller the movement is you do, the more speedy you can do it. Simple as that, because like if the velocity stays the same, the speed you move your hand stays the same, but the I think I need no, it's okay. If the speed you move your hand at is the same and the way is shorter, the time is shorter as well. Basic physics as well. That was horrible. So the less movement we have, the faster we can do the movement while being at the same physical capabilities of our bodies. But we want control as well, because we don't just want to throw anywhere. Like the speediest technique would be this. Everybody could try this with one ball. You won't have that much control over where the ball is actually going, as if you would be throwing like this. So we get more control the more muscles we use, actually. I don't know why that is, it just is that way. The more and the longer we hold the ball in our hand. Now there's a conflict. We have to choose between speed and accuracy. You just got to figure out where you want to go. If you want to go all the way to speed or all the way to accuracy, somewhere in the middle, 70% this, 30%, it's just personal choice. So, yeah, the more muscles we use, the longer we hold it in our hand. How do we get it to be in our hand for longer? Well, basically, we do this path, the circular motion, and then we keep the ball going, so we follow through. We don't just go like this, because, well, basically we won't be hitting where we want it. The ball won't be hitting where we want it to hit. Sorry. So, where was I? Yeah, control and the way we want the patterns to look. I'll be getting into that later. I'll be explaining 3 basic techniques. One is a very fast technique, one is a very controlled technique, one is kind of in the middle. I'll start off with a fast technique. I call it Tyler Tojo technique because he's just the best at it. And he almost exclusively uses this technique. So I'll be linking a video of him juggling 9 balls or something like this with that technique. So you can see how it works and how the patterns look. He keeps his elbows quite a bit to the side, like this. Outwards, catches the balls way outside of his body frame, has his hands quite low, and uses a lot of wrist, a little of his underarm, and almost none of his upper. So with 3 balls, he obviously doesn't do it like this with 3 balls, but it would kind of look like this, just way faster. So yeah, I'm over exaggerating, so you get the point. The other end, the very, very high control, very low speed technique, is the one Christian Bandvik uses. He catches the ball inside or at the edge of his body frame. Body frame is where your body ends, like your shoulders. Moves it down all the way till his arm is fully extended, and then uses his whole arm to almost at the center of his body bring the ball up and throw it again. So he has the ball, he has a very long path, he has the ball in his hand for a very long time. He uses a lot of muscles because he uses his full arm, and he has great amounts of follow through. I don't think there's a technique that gives you better control over your high throws, but it's a very slow technique. Christian Bandvik is fine with that. He deliberately chooses this technique because he wants his patterns to be high and slow, and that's completely fine. He's an awesome juggler. Again, way better than me. But I don't want my patterns to be that high and slow, so I don't use that technique very often. The technique I use is kind of a middle ground, also used by Orba, you know who I mean, Julian Sether or Doug Sayers, for example. Of course, they're all way better than me at this, but still. Where you have your elbow like about a fist width apart from the side of your torso, and again you move your arm downward after catching, keep the momentum going, and upward again from the center of your body. So you catch with your hand in this position and move it like this from the top view, like this. I don't use too much of my wrist with that. I use mainly my underarm, but it is still supported, like you can see the biceps, moving with this. So I do move my elbow, it just stays kind of in the same place. If that makes any sense to anybody anywhere in the world. It's kind of middle ground. It gives you good speed, not great speed, and good control, not great control. And I also like to mix up the stuff. So if I go 5 balls really low, which I do on stage, then I will be switching to the Tyler Tojo kind of technique, because it's just the speediest technique there is. And if I do high throws, I don't exactly do the Christian Bandvik style, like for the 1 high, 4 low, but I go and move my elbow with it because it just gives you better accuracy. So I encourage everybody to try out these 3 techniques or anything you see another awesome juggler do, and find out what's best for you. Also, I forgot to tell you what to do with your wrist. But I'll be doing that in another tutorial because that's quite something different. Where was I? Yeah, try it out. Don't worry too much about it. And happy juggling.